Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boomrz Show, candid conversations for, by, and about us boomers, also known as the sexties. So, hey, Diane.
Hey.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I am waiting to exhale. This, the past 4 years, that I have felt like it's like a weight has been on. And it's at the point where I feel like I can finally shrug that off. And I'm almost at that point. And when those last votes come in where I can go, "Ah, I can't wait. I can't wait." How are you feeling about this thing?
This has been a long week. Friday couldn't get here quick enough. I feel exhausted by the whole thing. This um, sleepless nights, waking up in the middle of the night, the seeing where the counts are, and this whole political environment, this COVID thing. I'm starting to feel trapped. I want this to be over with, and start moving, feel like I'm moving forward, that we're moving forward. I'm tired and ready for it to be over with, and whatever it's going to be after this, let it be, because I'm tired of it being the way it is right now. That's how I feel.
I do remember
Mm.
feeling shell shocked during the last election when it was apparent that the knucklehead in chief was going to win.
Mm.
And I have felt like Olivia, the whisper song Olivia, lost and turned out ever since then. So I'm hoping that we can finally get our lives back, you know. And
Yeah.
to me, just my opinion, it starts with controlling COVID, because until we can do that, we can't go back to any semblance of normal.
Mm-mm.
We playing at normal right now, and then we still having these breakouts. So we need to
Hmm.
pull back and say, let's control this, then we can do this, then we can do everything else. That is the basis of it all. And so even for these folks that drink the Kool-Aid, I don't hate you or nothing like that. I just wish you hadn't drank that much. I don't understand people having somebody tell you what to think, and then you just think that but anyway. Um, so I am waiting for those final votes to come in so it can be official. And then come January 20th, I will hold my sign up to say, boy, bye. Bye. See y'all. We wanna be ya. And
Time
take
to
them
move
knucklehead
on.
kids with you. Get y'all gilded shit. Get all that crap out of the White House.
Mm-mm.
And then
Cause he did.
spray behind it. Because he's the
Uh-uh.
biggest swamp monster. So I think the whole place needs to be fumigated.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
It's,
I,
it,
I,
I fell asleep election night because it was like, oh God, this can't be happening again. But I had a different feeling this time, and I was just like, if we go, the whole world goes. And I just thought, I don't think my God is going to let that happen. So I fell asleep and thought, I'll wake up early and then see what's going on. And I did. I fell asleep, and then when I woke up, the numbers started looking better. You know, so I have faith that we are going to make it to the end of the line. Um, and
and
at
you
that
know
point,
the the bottom line is, when it's over, when this election is over, we still got to go back to our lives,
yes,
dealing with
yes,
our individual, problems. We still got to go back when all the rhetoric, when we stop hearing all of this, things got to return to a normal focus, and that focus is going to be on this COVID. And the thing is, we got to have some leadership that's going to rise up and bring. You know, I think it's time for the people that we pay for in that White House to rise up to the leadership, to rise up
And I think
and
it's
come
about
together.
it. Now, this is the part that I think, when you run things like a business, you got to have the right people in the right spots. And he has sycophants in the spot, and I'm sorry, sycophants don't get the job done. You may like them, but if they are not qualified to get the job done, like his son-in-law, then guess what? You get bad results. So I am glad that the Biden team is already putting together their list of appointees and stuff that they want in the office, and hopefully they will do something similar to the Trumps when they went in. Normally I wouldn't advocate that, but in this case, I think it's wise. Clear the place out and then go back to the normal routine where you have the book and people can apply for those jobs, the ones that you don't necessarily have anybody to appoint, and let's get some qualified people in there to get the job done, and some people with some vision. And here's the thing that I like too. Biden is not just, he's doing the Obama thing, I guess, or thinking along those lines, which I think is a good thing, because you got to have, in order to make good decisions, you need all voices and not just some of them. And
Hmm.
so I know at some point in time he's going to appoint a few Republicans, and I think that's okay. You know,
Hmm.
don't go too far with it, don't get out of hand with it, but I think it's a necessary thing. And he's a deal maker. He knows how to do that. Unlike Trump. Trump says he's a deal maker, but he isn't. You know, but Joe's been in government making deals and doing, passing bills with other politicians, and they know how to do that. And so yeah, I am waiting for the exhaling moment.
Yeah, something that I thought about too was that the Republicans didn't you lose a lot of seats so far. They've retained. My understanding is, from what I've heard today, that they didn't lose any seats. My thinking is, the Republican Party do not need Trump. They already they maintain their seats. They already been pushed through um, their judge. Okay, I don't think they need that Trump in there as much. It's a lot of them might be waiting for him to get out too, because he's kind of standing in the way, to me, of their normal duty. Okay, I don't think that they need him particularly there as uh, uh, at this point in time. I honestly don't, because
Now,
they are.
I agree with you, but I come at it from just a little bit of different, little slightly different viewpoint with it.
Mhm.
I think that there's probably a whole bunch of them that was hoping, waiting for this fool to get unelected, kicked out of office, so they could go back to business as usual and being themselves and not have to be afraid of the Trump tweeter, you know,
Mhm.
or a fake Fox. You know what I'm saying? Reporting something just because he says it. I think it'll feel good for some of them if they were, honest with themselves, and they may be brave enough to come out and say that once this game is finally up, they'll be able to exhale as well.
Exactly. That's my sentiment. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. They can get down to being to business as usual. I mean, not in that same sense, but they can get down with Republicans and Democrats doing what they do up in that White House
Yeah.
without all this other stuff.
Without the
You
bully, without the fear of the bully over their heads, because that's what he
right,
was. He's been
right,
bullying them for 4 years, and they took it.
right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the sad thing. Is they
Mhm.
took the doggone bullying for four
Right.
years.
And now that they are mostly keeping their seats, okay, now that they're keeping their seats, then his tactics, to me, is are less threatening to them. It doesn't seem like he can bully them as much, because a lot of their concern was down ballot and all this up and
Uh-huh.
all of
But
this.
they're still
Mhm.
gonna be there and he'll be gone. So guess who they can
Exactly.
ignore? Mm-hmm.
See, so I don't think he has as much
Here's Mel.
clout.
Welcome, Mel.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
What's our topic right now? Because I'd like to talk about grandchildren and daughters who don't call you until the last second to pick up their child. So I apologize, ladies, but
That's okay. You were here. You know, we were talking about waiting to exhale and this whole thing of when the count is over with. You know that will, you know, that I at least will feel like I can exhale. But we had also got on the topic of, I think, some of those members in the Congress who retain their seats, even though Trump's losing
yes,
the national vote, they are retaining their seats, and how I think some of them in their heart of hearts will be ready to exhale as well, because they won't have to worry about the bully anymore.
absolutely, and because Mitch McConnell and Biden are friendly, I think there's a potential for him to acquiesce a bit because he didn't have any choice. If
Yeah.
he doesn't,
Biden's been around a long time. He's worked with so many of them, and
yes,
they know him. And I think with Trump out of the way, I think they can go back to having some level of productivity.
yes, and civility,
Yes. Yes.
plain
That's
and
a
simple.
that's a biggie.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see what the rest of the world thinks as well, because I am sure they are waiting to exhale as well. You
Mhm.
know, everybody, everybody except those ones that drink the Kool-Aid. And
They're still drinking it, which is amazing
that's
to
what's
me.
sad. That's what's sad. But what are they going to do on January 20th? You know,
You know,
what then? And you still didn't get any of Trump's money. His shine didn't shine on you. He didn't let you stay at Mar-a-Lago. You know,
no,
for
he
those ones that are not in the wealthy, in the wealthy income level, okay? Because the wealthy ones, they could have got something different, and that's fine. But for all the rest of these folks that watched The Apprentice and thought that that magic dust was gonna sprinkle on them some kind of way, and it didn't happen. Why?
You were absolutely right on that particular point, because one of the things that came to uh, common talking points and things that are going on is the fact that even back in the Civil War time, those poor dirt farmers who went to war for those rich men, just so that they can get their water rights and also their money, for their cotton, and control the price and things of that nature. It's amazing that they thought that these people are going to make them rich too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then there is that other thing that I was listening to, one of those documentaries, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good because it talked about when you are this poor person that is not of color, and you are sitting there thinking that there's got to be someone lower than me. So the rich man says, okay, I'm going to make them lower than you. And so now you're a step above them. Even if you are dirt poor, you're a step above them. So what really gets them right now is the fact that there are those of us who live in the suburbs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying, how do they live in the suburbs, but I don't? And you have police officers that came from those homes and are like looking at young black men who had a Mercedes Benz. His mom had given him one, right? They had the money. They live in the suburbs. And guess what? Of course, he got stopped.
Of course.
And they detained him because they said, this car's not registered in your name. Excuse me? That's my mother's name. No, did they call her? No, he called her. And she came out there and said, excuse me? They towed his car, searched his car, and
See,
scraped the front panel of her Benz, getting it up on the tow truck. All because you don't think we deserve to be in that particular position.
I just imagine when the last of the older generation dies off, you know, the change in the mindset, the change in the feel and the flavor of the country itself. Um, because it'll be a whole generation that doesn't have those memories and that touchstone to keep going back. You know, they keep going back
Unfortunately,
on
though,
touch that's
just
sore.
like before, they've
And
been raising
I
those
just
kids
think we
up.
might be better able to deal with the systemic stuff at that point, you know.
Some of them.
Mhm.
Some of them have been so entrenched and ingrained. It's
Well, that's always the case. But you have to admit that over the course of time, that number has dwindled. So there's a group out there, yeah, that right now they're into that, but I think they'll be into whatever the next thing is because they're that kind of people. They're followers, you know.
true.
The
True.
47%. What did Hillary list about? These people are. They can't think for themselves. But I think they'll still be in a majority, I guess. I mean, a minority is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know anybody that's raising their kids like that personally that I could point out and say, yeah, they're doing it. All right. So we are waiting to exhale. Well, let's talk about this not picking up the baby on time situation. So what happened, Mel?
You know, you are the fall guy, the backup plan, the plan B, plan A. I mean, it's called, wait a minute, been doing a whole almost week without having to, pick up my granddaughter or anything else. And we're like, oh boy, this is a good week. And then my husband got, strep throat. So I'm like, hey, your dad is sick, so no, we can't do anything with the 4-year-old. Oh, 6 o'clock. Can you go pick up my daughter? Excuse me? I have a meeting at 7. Well, I'm on a call. Okay, and that means exactly what to me. But then I go pick her up, right? And then I forgot her car seat, which wasn't good. So I'm flying back, had to throw her something on to eat, and I will probably have to take her back to her mother tonight.
No
10 to
doubt.
1.
No doubt.
I don't think she'll be coming over to get her.
Should be the
Yes.
opposite word.
And they know that your grandchildren are your breaking point. Your okay. All right. What am I going to do? Leave her at the daycare.
It is one of those things, yes, that they use as a bargaining chip, and they think that it's an effective bargaining chip. And sometimes we allow it to be, but
Yes.
sometimes we don't.
I
Now, I tell
really
you
have
one thing
not.
that I got from my mother. My mother was not the babysitter because she didn't utilize babysitters very much. And so what she told us was you either have your kid with you or you figure it out. But she was not, and she did not babysit, honey. You did not call Jesse George and babysit. Don't even call her grandmama, okay? Hmm.
I tried to go down that particular path. I'm called G Mama because I said
Oh,
I'm
you're
not a
another
grandma.
one. My
You know?
friend Peter in Atlanta, that's her. She's G Mama too.
Oh yes.
And I like that
Well,
though. I like G Mama.
well, I'm not G Mama. I'm Dwam. They don't call me grandma. No G Mama. Dwam. That's
Dwayne.
my name.
Okay.
Dwam.
All
Straight
right.
up. Dwam.
Well,
Now,
a
do they
few
live near you?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
well,
They
few
live
of them
near enough.
call me grandma. So I let them. I just call me anything. Just call me. So it runs the gamut from them just calling me my name to calling me grandma. That's
Right.
how she says it too. Draws it out. Grandma.
The calling the grandma was no issue with me. Is that their mother, my daughter-in-law, she liked those. She wanted us to have a name, get our own special name that the grandkids could call. And so she suggested to me when Maury was being born, Dula, and I'm like, I'm not getting ready to call myself Dula. And
Right.
walk around and hear my grandkids say doo doo. No Dula. So I came up with my own name and I was just okay, they can call me Dwam, and that's exactly how they know me. Dwam. They just now knowing what my full name is, but I'm Dwam.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I
Well, see,
like
that's
it.
what
I like
my daughter gave my mother, God rest her soul, but gave her a name because her name is Naomi, and she was
Mm-hmm.
always a little precocious and still is today. But uh, she asked her what her name was, what her real name was, because she said, "I don't want to call you Grandma." And so she asked her, "What's your real name?" And she said Naomi, and she said, Nomi. And my mom said, "No, Naomi." And because my mom was studying to be an English teacher before she got married, and so she was very, 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 very proper, and did not accept anything less than. But this woman allowed that little girl to call her Nomi, and all of my children ended up calling her Nomi, just like this Dwayne that you.
Nice.
Her name was Nomi to them.
I like that though. I like that.
Hmm. I like that know me. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Me
that's what
too.
make them so special. When you get that name that only that one person in your can have. And that's
Hmm.
I like that know me. Hmm.
Yes, she
Hmm.
loved it. And I'm like, Mom, you would never let us even think about calling you by your name or anything close to your name. And she goes, You darn right, and you better not do it now. I'm like, Okay,
Hmm.
It,
okay.
it's funny how the next generation gets the breaks and everything, because by that time they're experienced, they're exhausted, they're like, okay, I'm going with it. When you're a
Hmm.
parent, you have that energy to fight the battle. When you're a grandparent, you know better. You like, you know what? I'm gonna let them fight that. I'm taking the easy way out.
You
Yeah,
see, my
yeah.
granddaughter was, my daughter had her when she was 19 in college. And I'm like, okay, the oldest one, she's 16. And that's my little pill who's constantly here. She is a pill. She owns us lock, stock, and barrel. Unbelievable. But at least why she's 16 now, and I don't have to go do all the things that I have to do for the little 4-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
I remember my grandmother on my dad's side because I didn't know my mother's side. She passed and I didn't really get to know her, but we called her mama.
Mm.
Everybody called her mama, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we all called her mama.
Well,
Even though I called my own mama at some point in time, but that's what we called her.
well, since
So
my granddaughter grew up right along with her mother and all of her uncles, her two uncles, my two sons, she calls me mom. She
mhm.
refuses to call me G mama.
Mm.
The 4-year-old calls me G mama.
That's her way of putting that level of rank between her and the rest of the great kids.
Oh yes, and so I only have the two, but she says, "Mom." First, my daughter and her brothers were not happy with her calling me that. She goes, "My mom is mommy. This is my mom." And my sons are like, "No, that's our mother. You are a grandchild. Know your place." Especially my youngest one. He was like, "Oh no, oh no, 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 no. That's not your mom. That's your mom right there. No, she's mommy."
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I got together with my husband, he had kids that were already grown, and the two sons right away decided to call me mother
Oh,
because their mothers passed, their moms passed,
right.
um, and I felt weird about it at first. It felt weird coming from
Hmm.
them. But then I was like, okay, because I'm not replacing anybody or anything like that. And I get the distinctive impression she didn't get called mother. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I didn't mind that
Hmm.
as an endearment. I got used to it, but it felt strange at first. The same way when I first heard the granddaughter say, Grandma. And I was like, that's me.
Oh,
Oh, ladies, ladies.
they're special.
Yes, they are.
And I'm praying that this change that we have right now is going to be enough to uh, put us back, not back, but move us forward to
Yeah.
a
Right.
better place.
Build back better.
Yes,
That's
but
what we're about now. Building back, but better.
yes,
And
absolutely.
you know, if the the water lifts, it lifts all the boats. Why they don't understand that, I don't know. But I have hope. That's all I can
Well,
say.
what bothers me more with the evangelical community and all of these other people that claim to be Christians or whatever they're calling themselves today, because I don't subscribe to Christian. I choose to go with follower of Christ because Christian was a name given to the group that followed Christ by the Romans. We were told to be followers of Christ. There's not Christian in the Bible at all, except for what the Romans referred to us as when they, as they were in control. And that's what they called them, and that's what they put to slaughter. But these people are sitting here saying that they are all about God, and then at the same time, we are the ones, it's like just us. This whole presidency and everything else is about us. And I'm thinking, okay. Then I had one that actually told me I'm voting for him because of my 401k. So I'm like, people are dying and starving now because they don't have jobs, and you're sitting up here happy because your 401k is increasing. So is mine. But guess what? I'd rather go ahead and forego those earnings as long as people are getting food. I mean, what was it? Texas just said, "Oh, we're going to extend the emergency food stamps." What you think? We're in the middle of a pandemic with 100,000 people that just were, infected.
Yeah. It just boggles the mind that, you know, even if you use the term Christian, so the Webster Dictionary
Right.
describes it as Christ-like, right?
Yes.
You
Hmm.
demonstrate actions of thoughts
Yes.
that are
That's what
Christ-like.
it's supposed to be. You're
They still
absolutely right.
falling down. They still missing the mark. You know, it's so hypocritical. You know,
Yeah. I
you,
mean, I had a girl do a big post on Facebook saying, "My mom always taught me if you don't play fair, then you can't win." And I'm like, "You're right. You are so right. But not the way you're thinking." Because she's a Trump supporter. Not the way you're thinking, darling.
yeah, because there's nothing fair about that.
Right.
You have to start with the premise that the guy was an abject failure. And if
Yes.
he hadn't been saved by his money, his wealth, his position, his proximity to the connections that he needed to get those loans or to have them guaranteed, he'd be same place we are tonight. A pimp down on the corner or something like that, and probably not a good one. I'm just glad that it's coming to an end. This nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue. Nightmare on Pennsylvania. It ain't Nightmare on Palm no more, Diane. It's Nightmare on Pennsylvania now. And, let's let's
Oh,
hope
David.
Freddie
Oh,
Trumper gets slashed on, get thrown out the house. Woo.
oh.
I wish he would go ahead, pack his things right now, and go on down there to Florida and just chill out in Mar-a-Lago and don't do
Yeah.
a thing. You don't have to do
Invite your
anything
little rich
else.
friends, tell them stories, charge them all the money you want to charge them, but just get gone.
Yes.
Just get gone out of the government, and then you can go be private citizen. Trump, do your thing, boo, do your thing. But
Yes.
don't need you making no more decisions about anything concerning the country. Nothing. And then I heard that he doesn't even want to have the meetings. You know how they do the transition meetings?
Oh,
He
I'm
doesn't
sure
want
he's
to
not.
do those, which I'm not surprised, but he doesn't
Yeah.
want to do those.
You know what? Do we
Okay.
care? Do we care?
No, because Biden already knows what time it is. Him and his wife already been there, done
Right.
that. They already know. They can tell him, boy, bye, we got this. We got
Yeah.
this.
Yes. Absolutely. Hmm.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So please, Nevada, please come through. Let's
No, just
see.
anybody watching the numbers
11,000. Pennsylvania difference is down to 11,000 votes, look like.
from that 100,000. Look at that. That's just unbelievable. Let's come on, Pennsylvania. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that was one county. 32,000 is the difference now.
It's down to 32,000 from 100.
94% of the vote in. So yes, 32,000 votes.
Oh my Lord, have mercy. This is good. This is
Okay,
so
so
good.
what that means? So I'm not looking at the numbers right now. So if
That
it's down
means
to
that
30,
the lead that Biden had in Pennsylvania has been cut down to 32,000 votes from close to 200,000 votes.
Well, no, it started out at 500,000 or 600,000.
right. So
But
how many more votes?
Been cut.
So how many votes we're waiting to be counted now?
Well, they didn't give a number of votes, but 94% of the count was in, which means there's still 6% of the vote. And it still was mainly focused in the Philadelphia and around Philadelphia
area.
So
there were close to 100,000.
That's the way we wanted it to go with Biden votes. That was the expectation.
Yes.
So here's my thing. I have to ask once more. So you don't you think most of there won't you think most of those votes will be, it won't be any surprises. You think most of those votes will be for Biden?
I think most of them are going to be
hanging chads.
Huh?
It's not Florida. There won't be any hanging chads this go round. I tell you that.
Yes. No hanging chads.
Okay.
No, I think this one is absolutely. I want him to just go ahead and win Pennsylvania. I don't even care about Arizona. I don't care about anything else. I mean, in Georgia right now, I'm just thankful that that Senate race is going to be 2 runoffs, not 1, but 2.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.
Now we have to really, really push those people, because if those 2 seats are won, we now will have control, because Kamala will be the deciding vote. It'll be 50-50.
Oh.
Yes.
Right. And the vice president gets the deciding vote. That is absolutely correct. So, yes. Yes.
So Mitch McConnell, no. You know what? But that man right there, I don't understand how people can be that evil. And his hand, did you see those pictures of his hand?
No.
His hand looks like it's about to rot all the way off. I'm not kidding. It was purple, blue, and all kinds of colors. They're talking about, well, he had to have some tests run and stuff. No, that hand looked like it was about to come off. Literally.
Or maybe it's not a hand, it's a claw.
I'm telling you, I thought it was a joke, right? I thought somebody did it for Halloween or something. It was real. You look it up, his hand is just, it looked really
What's
bad.
What's wrong with his hand?
They're not telling, of course. Oh. They're just saying that he had some tests done, and that, his veins, and
maybe
I've seen people get black and blue.
Have good circulation, and he has parts of his body slowly trying to rot off.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, but with that kind of thing happening, don't you think I would flip everything? I would try to be nice to everybody. I would do everything. Lord, please. This man is still evil. He just doesn't care.
The Grim Reaper.
He doesn't even know who God is. Because I fear God.
Doesn't care as long as he has his precious list of judges. He doesn't care about anything else. And that's what's really sad.
Well, guess what? Those judges can be replaced.
Yes.
Some of them. Not all of them. But some of them can be replaced.
Some can be recalled. Yes.
Yes. And so my take is this: get them out of there, stack that court. That's what we've got. I mean, literally, if you got $15, send it to Warnock and Ossoff. They need the money. They're going to need everything coming at because the little SEC girl, the one who was selling her stock off the minute she heard about the COVID, and she was on the Senate committee that heard this information, and she started selling her stock. Loeffler, that's the one that Warnock is going against, and was
beating her handily.
Yes, if those other fools in the Democratic Party there in Georgia had dropped out, he would have won.
He would have won.
He
Right.
would have won.
He would have won. And I still think he can beat her.
Oh, I think he can beat her. I think he can.
I think he can beat her. The other one, Ossoff, is the one that I'm a little more concerned about.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm not even concerned about him anymore because of the fact that he got this far. And I didn't expect him to get this far against Purdue. But Purdue made some big mistakes when he was sitting up there talking about Kamala la 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 and Kamala and been working in the Senate with her for 4 years, and all of a sudden you don't know her name.
Yeah.
That was just
pitiful. They are pitiful, and you cannot be representing our country like this. I'm sorry. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing.
Any remnant of Donald Trump, anybody acting like Donald Trump, and you see how Lindsey Graham is not backing Donald Trump on this fraud and everything else nonsense. He's won his race. And he's staying quiet now.
Mm-hmm. Right. He just
wants to add Lindsey Graham because he said Lindsey should be saying something.
I'm still here, but don't pay no attention to me.
Okay.
Lindsey. Mm-hmm. We know you're still there.
Yeah.
We know you're there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But watch him flip. Watch him flip.
That's what I think, Mel. I think the same thing. He's gonna flip again because that's what he is. He's a flipper. You know.
Yes,
he has no allegiance to anything, but I guess the
okay.
Power.
He's gonna flip to what? How?
He's going to go along with the Democrats on several things. He's not going to be a staunch, I'm going to be Republican and nothing else matters. People don't matter, because he told those people in South Carolina he wasn't for losing their benefits and everything like that, but they're going to lose them on the 10th if that stuff goes to the court. But I have a feeling that Supreme Court might show their tail on him, and he might be a little bit disappointed, Donald Trump, because
I think that too. You know, I think when they get there, they give it a little more gravity than being just the local judge. And I think he's in for a few surprises.
I think he is too, because I think that even though I know Alito, Thomas, Kavanaugh, and I'm not even absolutely positive on Kavanaugh, but I don't think Gorsuch will vote with him. I think Gorsuch and John Roberts will vote with the three ladies, you know, Democrats. I mean, basically the justices that it would be a 5-4. And I think it's going to be in the favor of keeping the Affordable Care Act right now until the Republicans get something, because you have nothing.
Exactly. You have no replacement. And so why would you pull the rug out from under the people that have coverage and you have nothing to replace it with? So I agree with you. I think they'll keep it in place.
Right.
So
because girlfriend's going to go ahead and vote with them on her originalist ideas. But what really bothers me about her even more, when you start looking at the amendments and everything else that came into play, she's basically talking about she's an originalist of the Constitution. So all these amendments that were added, she's not necessarily for all of those. And if someone comes with a challenge, that girl will do it. And I'm telling you, if you look at Reconstruction, how many of us were in place, doing well? You know, Blacks were prosperous during that time. Heck, Sears and Roebuck came about during the Reconstruction. Okay, yeah, they took the Roebuck off in the South, but Sears and Roebuck was plenty up in the East Coast and Northeast. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that she will, having proclaimed herself as an originalist and, you know, a constitutionalist, that she will try to stick by the actual word, which is a little unfortunate.
I think she basically
have to interpret, you know, so
she's a cult member. I mean, if you look at her record and look at where she came from and what board she sat on in the schools that she was a part of, she's a cult member, and that's not a good thing. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm not worried about her. I'm not worried about Kavanaugh, because the God we serve, he can take and remove them in a heartbeat.
True.
And it's called, you're going to regret what you just did. But if you go ahead and act a fool on this Affordable Care Act, they're going to stack that court. They're
And
going
I
to
think they
stack that
should.
court.
I think they should. Given what happens in the next 2 months, I think that should definitely be left on the table and beefed up with, with a plan ready to go. And it don't have to be no whole bunch, but I do think it's time for readjustment.
I think that there are going to be some Republicans that might actually even flip to the Democratic Party because they're probably fully disgusted. They're probably just so disgusted with themselves and all that's happened and the things that are going to come as a result of this, because this stuff is not over. You got people showing up at the places where they're counting with
At the
AR-15s.
Yeah, yeah.
That's despicable. And why are these people who are supposed to be evangelists, supposed to be Christians, not saying, "Hey, don't do that"?
Exactly. Why are you at these people jobs? And, never hear any of that because their number one thing is abortion. And I still say to them, then just don't get an abortion, then, sister girl.
Well, yeah. And I also say to them, here's what I say to you. Instead of you taking all that money and raising it to go have pitchfork parties, against people while they're walking into these clinics, why don't you stand out there and say, listen, we are going to put you up in a nice place to live. And we will take care of you and your baby. We will also send you to school. We will help you get a brand new job and to get on your feet and actually get you a place to stay. As a matter of fact, if you do well in the classes and everything, you could potentially become a homeowner. We have people all along this line that can help you in every step of this because we have builders, we have all of these people that claim to be Christians.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to take
I'm
care
concerned about you getting rid of that baby.
That's right.
We want you to keep that baby.
We want you to keep that baby.
We will help you keep that baby.
We're going to help you keep that baby. That's what you need to be doing. My take is this. Yes, I would say to someone, if you came to me and asked me, I would say, don't do it. Because there's ramifications and there's things that you have to think about for the rest of your natural days. But here's what I'll say to you. How can I help you? Let me try to help you get on your feet, get yourself together, so that you can keep that baby. But if you choose to do that, I'm going to still love you when you come out of there. I'm still going to help you try to get on your feet so that you don't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at it from that standpoint. You got to love people the way Christ loved people, because he could have called that woman at the well, "You're nothing but a whore." Or the one that was caught in adultery, he could have said, "Hey, stone her."
Well, we're not supposed to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And so I agree. I stay in my lane.
Right.
I cannot judge you. All I can do is try to help you, meet you where you are, and try to, help you go to the next level. If that's what you're ready to do. But I can't judge you for anything. But just don't make those impositions that impact everybody, and it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about the fairness.
Yes. You can.
Well, Diane, do you have something to think about for us today?
Well, I have one thing, and it's by Maya Angelou, and she says, "I love living. I love that I'm alive to love my age. There are many people who went to bed just as I did yesterday evening and didn't wake up this morning. I feel very blessed that I did."
Now that's good.
Amen.
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 Now
that's
that is something.
Sort of it all,
London, we're going to say bye-bye now. Going back there to your sister.
Yes. That keeps things in perspective, because this is in the big scheme of things. This ain't nothing.
No,
this ain't
no. This will get resolved, right? This time next week, this will be resolved.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be smiling.
And I'm glad to be alive and part of it, and to see every single thing that we see. Even though we don't like it, I'm happy to see everything we see, because I tell you, one of my favorite scriptures is from Luke, and it says, "Blessed are the eyes that see the things that ye see." So this stuff that I'm seeing, it's all right. I'm gonna get some
Look,
sleep eventually.
there you go.
It is totally all right. And I tell you what, the other night my mother-in-law was so panicked and everything because the numbers weren't looking good, Tuesday night. And the Lord just dropped in my spirit the song "Blessed," but it was the chorus of God's going to turn it around. It's going to work in your favor. Late in the midnight hour. So basically, he was telling me, take your behind the bed. Don't worry about this mess. Get your rest. And it turned around. I was just like,
Worked
Lord,
it
look
out.
at you.
Right? He worked it out. I
He
must have
did.
been feeling that within my spirit because it was the same thing. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go to sleep and wait on.
Exactly. Here's the thing, that's where our peace comes from, because he promised us peace and he promised us sweet sleep. So I took myself to bed.
Yes, yes, I did. And then all of a sudden I got up and I was like, okay. So then I did my Bible study. And it was just like every time I turned around, he just had a word to just simply say, I got this. I've got you. And it was kind of funny this morning. There's a woman who she's a part of this group that I met in Tennessee. So she does a little Bible study kind of encouragement in the mornings, right? So she lives on this big ranch and stuff like that. So she's down by this pond, and she starts talking about Jehoshaphat, in Second Chronicles chapter 20. Let me tell you, when somebody or things are coming up against you, and what Jehoshaphat said, Lord, because Jehoshaphat had just messed up in 19, okay, following behind some foolish king that didn't, just because he's Jewish, I'm Jewish, I'm Israelite, I'm going to help you. No, you weren't told by God to do that. And the prophet tried to warn him. But anyway, then the prophet got, the Spirit of God came on him and, told him, don't worry about it. I've got this. All they had to do was just do what God told him to do. They didn't have to fight a thing because those enemies ended up fighting each other and killing each other. Okay. So here's the thing. When she was telling this, she goes, you know what I'm talking about, right? Because she tries not to be political in her conversation. It was everything in me was it had to pull me back from saying, girl, you just don't even know. You're saying that, but it's because this is what God is doing on behalf of those who love him and love his word and love that, again, that we have an opportunity to love one another and unify again. But the way you're thinking to go back to this lying, cheating, thieving man. No, that's not godly. And no, God is not doing that. He didn't.
Right.
No,
He is not behind that at all.
no, no. Now he allows certain things to happen. Now I'm
Right.
not going to,
Right.
he allowed him to have this 4 years, but he gave him a
Exactly.
chance.
But he does not want the destruction of the earth, which would happen if he got another 4 years.
The
And so
destruction
he
will
has to
come
pull
when
the
God
plug.
says it's going to come, not when man has decided it's coming.
Right. And we don't
Because
leave
we
him spirit
called
and
them.
things alone.
But to your point, Diane, on this, the word that you brought was just like, okay, this is wonderful because yes, I'm blessed to be alive and I'm thankful and I'm grateful that he's given me his word to give me that peace and just, being able to say, wow, look at what God is doing. And these
Mhm.
people, oh, but if you guys get a chance, what's her name? What's the girl's name? The blonde chick that's his spiritual advisor, Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula. Paula, what is her name? Paula.
Paula White.
Paula White. Yes, girl, she was on today talking in tongues and rebuking everything and just, girl, they've
I
had
don't
so
even
many different
listen to
names.
her. I don't even listen to her anymore. I
No,
used to have a T-shirt. I saw her at a conference in Atlanta. I don't follow her. I don't listen to her anymore.
no, 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 no.
I
Because
didn't know she
I'm
was his
sorry.
advisor either. Okay.
Yeah, but
Mm-mm.
she was acting a fool today. I said, "Ooh, girl!" But you know what?
Devil was busy.
Ooh. I
He
said,
is
"Okay."
busy.
I believe in God's word though, because I will not put my tongue on her. But no, I will not follow her. And no, what she was doing today, I said, girl, you know what all that you saying, all that you calling out and everything else, you're rebuking that evil that you've been supporting all this time. You sit up here, you have lost your ever loving mind. Because it's just unbelievable. And it's people like her and Jeffers, this minister here in Dallas, the pastor over the First Baptist Church in Dallas, one of the biggest churches in Dallas. Oh yeah, white rich people attend that church, and black people who want to be with them and call themselves networking with them and following behind that nonsense. It's amazing. We are.
All we can do is pray for them.
Yes, I am.
And be
I
happy
am.
for us, that we are followers.
Right. And the fact that here we are, we've got this man had 4 years to turn around. And when he supposedly got COVID, I don't believe he got it. I don't believe he had it. Nobody can make me believe that man had it. It's called God himself is going to tell me he had it. But anyway, if he had it, God gave him a chance.
Convinced me last week because I hadn't really given it serious consideration. I just figured, well, they took him to the hospital. He must be displaying symptoms. Okay. But on the third day when he ready to go home and he's cured and all this, even with all the stuff that he got.
Yes.
It doesn't work like that. And when you said that, it hit me. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he faked this. He faked it. Now, I don't think his wife and his son faked. Their test came out positive, but even, you know what? His test could have been positive if he was asymptomatic. Still the same thing. But I just felt like it was when you said that, and I was like, you know what? He did fake that.
When I look at Chris Christie, he was in the hospital for a week.
7 days, yes.
And he came out looking like he was sick.
Yeah, and had a change of tune, apologized.
Yes, he did.
He said he knew he should have had on a mask. Yeah, that.
Mm-hmm. But see, this is the thing with Trump. Unfortunately, there are many people that were given chances after chance after chance to change. Pharaoh, how many plagues had to come up against him before it hit his own house? And he still wouldn't turn from his wicked ways. Tried to chase after them and then drown all of his troops in the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Try and destroy somebody else and end up destroyed.
It's amazing to me, but that was a good one, Diane. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed.
Well, all right, ladies. Great conversation. For those of you that are listening, if anybody is, we will see you next week, Thursday night, 7:00, with some new and fresh candid conversations.
I'm going to see. Let me ask you something, Kathy. When someone tries to come in, I don't think I try to get someone before. What do they need to do? Just go
All
to
they need to do is just go to the Facebook Live. They can go to the Boomer page and they can watch it live.
Okay.
And if they click on the link, they'll get a reminder for the ones coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell them. Yeah, and you see I have my pearls on today. And
they're nice. It's very nice too. I like that.
It's for Kamala. Yes, and I have on my Chucks too. I had on my Chucks on Tuesday too. Yes.
Well, all righty then.
Yes, we're going to support her. She better show up.
All right, ladies, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Bye.